Good afternoon, everyone. So, our topic for today it's all about transformative education, a core driver of transformative learning. So, what is transformative education? So, transformative education is the holistic change or the transformation of a learner's perspective with the goal to make the learners and more understanding, aware, accepting, critical, and progressive. Some this definition we can that transformative education is not strategies. Is also not a method, but it is approach in education. It is a theory that we applied in the process or in the teaching process. The next is transformational learning. So, what is transformational learning? Transformational learning is about dramatic, fundamental change in the way we see ourselves and the world in which we live. This involves becoming more reflective and critical, being more open to the perspective of others, and being less defensive and more accepting of new ideas by Miriam 2007. So, transformational learning, it is the kind of learning that results in fundamental change in our worldview as a consequence of shifting from mindless or unquestioning acceptance of available information to reflective and conscious learning experiences to bring about the true participation. So, the next is transformative learning. What is transformative learning? A transformative learning is involves experiencing a deep, structural change, shift in a basic premise of thoughts, feelings. Transformative learning is one of the theory of learning that focuses on adult education and young adult learning. Transformative learning, that's sometimes called transformation learning, and focuses on the idea that learners can adjust thinking based on new information. For example, when students are learning about world religions, teachers can introduce literature and articles that discuss different religions, helping them gain new perspectives and understanding. Next is Muzzero 1994. The full name of Muzzero is Jack Muzzero. He described the transformational learning theory as a being constructivist, an orientation which holds that the way which learners interpret their sense, experience, and central on making meaning enhance learning. This theory involves two kinds of learning. Taylor A. W. 1998 and Muzzero 1997. The two kinds of learning, which is the instrumental learning and communicative learning. So, what is instrumental learning? Instrumental learning is a learning through task-oriented problem solving and determination of cause and effect relationship. The next is communicative learning. A communicative learning is involved with how others communicate their feelings, needs, and desires with other person. For example, the common arts of questioning in classroom that to enhance the communication skills of the student that providing high skills. The next is perspective transformations. Under the transformative education, the first thing we or the learner should change or should transform will be perspective transformation. So, for transformative education, to be successful, a teacher should be or a education should be a facilitator or perspective transformation. So, we should also know what is the meaning of perspective transformation. Basically, perspective transformation is leading to transformative learning occurs infrequently. He believes that is usually resolved from disorienting dilemma, which is triggered by a life crisis or major life transition. So, disorienting dilemma is a situation wherein your current values or in the bank of another person town. Like for example, meron kang values in such a acquisition and then napunta ka sa isang situation wherein you are about or you are the fast quiet. Converse within ATS. So, disorienting dilemmas happens during that exchange of discussion and the exchange of point of view between you and the 18 years person. Of course, the perspective transformation has a process. So, let us discuss this process one by one. There are 3 stages of perspective transformation. First is convectional perspective transformation. Second is psychological dimension perspective transformation. And third is behavioral perspective transformation. First is convectional perspective transformation. So, what happened in this stage? In this stage, there will be a revision of belief system. So, how to be applied or what is the basic of prevention belief system in each class in this setting? As you can see, the tradition of belief system during the discussion of this subject, we can say the tradition of belief in the philosophy, literature, social studies, theology, practical research, and values education. Next is psychological dimension. Basically, they have changes and understanding of the self. Like for example, in personality development and general psychology. The last stages is behavioral stage of perspective transformation. So, what happens to the behavioral stage? It is a changes in lifestyle. When we say changes in lifestyle, there will be a transformation with our own mindset. How we process things that we affect our lifestyle. So, we encounter this process or in subject nutrition and lifestyle. Like for example, environment or subjects about nutrition and health. The next is elements of frame of reference. Mazzaro, 1997. So, we have 2 elements of frame of reference. First is habits of mind and second is point of view. So, habits of mind and point of view can be developed through stages. Habits of mind and point of view can be developed through these stages. The perspective changes brought by disorienting dilemma. We will the result to an individual changes frame of reference that the way you think, the way you see things, the way you reventional and visualize. How does learning occurs according in the transformative education theory? So, according this theory, there are four ways of learning. The first is by elaborating existing frames of reference. Second is by learning new frames of reference. Third is transforming points of view, or the last is by transforming habits of mind. So, the first is by elaborating existing frames of reference is we can see learning by elaborating existing frames of reference. So, what mean that elaborating existing frame of reference? Your existing frame of reference, it is your current of point of views, your currently of life, your currently think around of you. So, all you have to do is to elaborate that. And all you know what frames of reference. So, you should know what angers you, what teases you, what do you see as something that is great, what do you see as something that is not great. Things like that. From these frames of reference, you can learn new frames of reference. Of course, by learning new frames of reference, if you will not know or you're not able to distinguish your frame of reference, how can you determine other people to frame of reference? How you acknowledge your point of. By learning new frames of reference, you will not know. You're not able to distinguish your frame of reference. How you can determine other people to frame of reference? How you acknowledge your point of view if you do not know or understand. So, by transforming points of view from the existing frame of reference you have and from the new frame of reference that you have learned through encountering various people, you can now then transform your points of view. Of course, your point of views were shaped by frames of reference, and then the frames of reference, and you will be encounter other people. The last is transforming habits of mind. By transforming habits of mind, you can able to control how you see people or how you react in situation. And in this stage, you will have an acquisition and the realization that we should not let our anger stay cover us. So we have Levels of Cognitive Process by Museros 1997. The first cognitive processing is the first order thinking, so which is compute, memorize, read, and comprehend. The second cognitive processing is metacognition, and metacognition new motoring process and product of first order thinking. And the last cognitive processing is the transformative learning, which is you can reflecting on the limits of knowledge, the certainty of knowledge, and the criteria of knowing. We have also the following we have also a reason. So the following are the reason to consider transformative learning theory and practices for student is this reason is a guide for a educator of adult 1994. The first is the transition to adult life. So, the transition to adult life, it is this often involves personal transformation as a student more from a safe school environment to take on complex work, study, and social responsibilities. The second is students are led a deeper understanding. So, when students are led to a deeper understanding of concepts and issues, there are fundamental belief and assumption may be challenged, leading to a transformation of perspective on worldview. Third is develop critical and reflective. As we ask students to develop their reflective thinking skills and encourage them to care about world around them, they may decide that some degree of personal or social transformation is required. The last is transformational change. So, we are living through a period of transformational change in society and culture. So, this is my quiz. We have in this quiz we have identification and enumeration. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.